Hello again, YouTubers, and today I want to talk to you about something which might sound a little boring, but hopefully, stay with me and we'll see how it goes. It's about specialisation in trades, etc., religion and its evolution in society and civilization. Now, in all walks of life, we have In all walks of life, we have developed a society that relies upon specialists for its very existence. Now imagine, if you can, an iPod. Here we have one. It plays videos quite happily. There's me, look, on there. And it also plays, obviously, music, and it's an incredible storage device. It's a miracle almost of modern engineering. Now, if you were to look at this iPod, think about what goes into making it. Now, from the ore that is mined for the metal, the foundries and the processing, for the iron and the steel for starters, you've also got all the people who work in the foundry and, of course, the people who provide heat for the foundry. You've also got the manufacturing and moulding of the plastics, the development and programming, the design and research, the building, the architecture of the building, of course, manning and equipping of factories, the vast transportation needed. This in itself, a vast army of support is needed. There's vast communication networks, not to mention the teams of managers and retailers, to bring these almost miraculous products to the point of purchase. Now, no one person can make an iPod. It relies upon a community job, as it were. On a smaller level, each community relies upon a vast team for its very existence. From the builders, plasterers, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, traders, mechanics, firefighters, police, medical workers, etc. You can put your own in. It's easy to figure out what I'm on about. But through working as a community, you then appoint people that helps that community to flourish. Obviously guide them in a positive way so that they can push forward, hopefully, to bigger and better things. Now, keeping a community of specialists together has become as important itself as having, well, obviously, we've long since left behind our hunter-gathering roots. And this sense of belonging gives comfort in numbers. Obviously, also that comes to power and accumulates an achievement. Specialised knowledge and skill in itself is only of use in a community situation. Now, speciality is what is needed, yet once a speciality is reached, then nothing else is really needed for survival. So, knowledge and learning is often stopped by the individual at this point in life, concentrating instead on rearing of families and teaching the skills. Oh, excuse me, dry mouth here. So you carry on and you teach these skills to children, really, but there's a bit of a gap then in your education. You often find, obviously, specialist family businesses, father and son and carrying on down. This often happens, and for this very reason. Now, when you do get this gap in learning, traditionally it's been taken up by religion. Now, religion is a binder and it keeps communities together. Even as an atheist, I realise that is the way it's worked. Now, preserving and creating the laws that bind families together is often what it's all about. It also encourages procreation in its very name. Also, you'll find that it sends out missionaries to the next villages and then to the next countries, the next worlds, to in fact make this ease of power and something which can be done without fuss or contradiction, of course. Now, this form of community evolution has worked well to establish the civilizations we find today. The truth of religion is not important as a whole. What is important, however, is faith. And faith in religion is what it's all about. Right. This obviously is important for social grouping, and it's needed to be defended at the same time with an iron fist to ensure the stability of that community that civilization. Now, truth, as I say, is not necessary for this process. Okay. Today, all of this religious piety has come under threat from multiculturalism and interfaith community. Even archbishops realise this, as we recently saw Rowan Williams, the Archbishop of Canterbury, doing his controversial speech of trying to pander to the Islamic needs. Now, the real answer is really staring us in the face. Yet, like persuading people to give up technology or their faith, it's far harder to accept. Those people who feel their education is over and no longer need to learn need persuasion to study the earth sciences, so they can obtain a true picture of what humanity is doing to our planet, and of course how nature works, how the drifting continents, for instance, they shape the world and the world's weather, which in turn has shaped the evolution of the planet. Only through understanding can we hope to regain any chance of reality of the world's problems. And I really do believe that. Now, there is continual expansion of the human race, regardless of the unsustainable problems, obviously, this is going to produce. And it's justified also by Holy Scripture. Now, it can only lead to eventual disaster, which ironically is predicted in many of the holy works. Now, imagine a world today without electricity. If it no longer flowed, it would cause a mass disaster, because the human world has moved on to accept electricity as part of our heritage and culture. Now, the massive increase in population since the discovery, say, of electricity has left us with no choice but to continue to embrace it. It may not be a bad thing, but we must understand the consequences of this. Evolution has no concept of a future. This species will only live for the moment. Now, if you look at a flightless bird like the dodo, something which came from a pigeon, it was a pigeon relative really. Now, it had no concept of what might come to its island later on to kill them for sport, for instance. Now, if they had, then they would of course retained their ability to fly. Now, when I was at school, I remember geography lessons with a sense of what use will this ever be to me, really, and when I leave school, what purpose is glaciation and meandering rivers that form oxbow lakes to my future? Does it really all matter? Today, of course, I can see that a study of such things, together with geology, paleontology and evolution, are one of the most important things we can learn. If we're to understand our own existence and the path humanity chooses to take in the future, this has to be done. Now, sadly, in a world of indoctrinated faith, and it conflicts with even your neighbours in your own street, it's a simmering pot of destruction and misery, and it will eventually just boil over. It's quite obvious, really. So what do we say at the end? Well, really, faith heads. Now, I don't mean that contradictory. I don't mean that in a nasty way. But faith heads, can you please learn something else? As well as your religion, if you like. You need to learn these things. If it contradicts, don't just ignore it. Think about it. And really, that's all I have to say today. Hope you can discuss this all you like. Peace.